Okay, so continuing from the last video, now we had decided we had this function is odd. It has a logical if-else statement on the inside. We need to know which of the following does exactly the same thing as what appears at the top here. Which does that? Take a moment. Try to decide for yourself and see if you can make a good prediction. Go ahead, pause the video. Okay, so really we're wanting something that will give us that true when this expression is true. But let me point out something that may be obvious to you. What is the output of this x divided by 2? What is the output of that? It's going to be a true. So this is actually not very efficient programming. And in fact, if it's odd, we'll get a true for this statement without having to return a true. If it's, I shouldn't say without having to return a true, without having to use a conditional statement. If it's false, then we'll return a false without having to use a conditional statement. So obviously this one's not going to do it because that's just going to return that result of the division, right? Also, this is a different test, so that's completely not relevant. None of the above is possible. It always is. But look at this one. It'll return true when this is true. It'll return false otherwise. So B does exactly the same thing, but is more efficient syntactically. Think about how you can start doing this. You don't need to explicitly make use of these booleans. They automatically get returned if you think through it first. So let's practice. If you're unsure about precedence, use parentheses. I think this just makes code more clear too. So I just use parentheses, I'll just say, unless it's obvious and you just don't need to. Use your simplest expressions, like don't use not double negatives, like not, not a, that I would not say that, nor would I speak that way, hopefully. You need to avoid things like equal equal true or equal equal false. Why? Because we don't need to test for equality or not. It's if we've written a comparison operator, that is what we get back as a result of that comparison operator. So we don't need to be, testing for equality to a Boolean. That really is, I can't think of a case where you'd have to do it that way. I really can't. So let's assume below 0 is Boolean. How can we simplify what appears below right here? So it's Boolean, meaning it's a true or a false, right? Well, we want to avoid using that equal equal true. So let's say below 0 is true. Then if we get rid of this guy, equal equal true, then we'd have if true, print BR. If it's false, you don't print BR. It's really that simple. This is redundant and unnecessary. It's like you're taking true and saying true is equal to true, therefore it's true. It's not needed. Okay, so let's do something more complicated now to test ourselves. So we're taking the integer from endpoint where it says enter your age. If the person enters something that is less than 18, then they're called a minor. If they're greater than or equal to 18 and their age is less than 30, they get called an adult. Else, if the age is bigger than 30 or equal to 30, they print older than